You know what I'm tired of? This is Simply Pop, by the way. It's healthy. I'm tired of people calling themselves Black American, but they're not. I've seen too many people sit there and say, I'm Black American, and then they would just throw in, oh yeah, but my mom is Haitian. I'm Black American, oh yeah, but my dad is Caribbean. I'm Black American, oh yeah, but my auntie is, from South Sudan, like, or any other place in Africa. I'm like, okay, wouldn't you be African American, right? This is why I hate what Jesse Jackson did, right? Because despite what some Africans may say, there's been a lot of attempts from Americans, Black Americans, to try to reconnect to the motherland even before this big boom now. And it's just interesting to me because back in the 1980s, I believe, he decided to make African American, right? That was just something that we decided to make our identity, right? And so now so many people are like African American, because it makes so much sense, right? In a way. But none of the Africans were really, seeing us as African, even back in the day. Like, none of them were going around sitting there saying we were African American, right? Now they heard about it. They were like, okay, yeah, you can come back to the motherland. I'm not saying that it wasn't. I'm not okay. I'm not saying that every single African was sitting there being like, they are not African. I'm not saying that, but a good amount were like, they are American. They came from America. And so it's just interesting that we as Black Americans decided to call ourselves African to, I guess, try to reconnect. And then we worked with other Pan Africanists in the States, out of the States, and then it was the whole thing. But it's like, to what end? To what end? What about that actually worked out for us? And so now, because we are trying to identify as Black and we are saying that we own Blackness, a lot of Africans are going around saying, no, actually you're African. It's like it flipped, right? Because I remember for the longest time, a lot of Africans were sitting there saying, you guys are not African, right? And then they used this excuse saying, well, you guys say you're not African. And it's very childish to me because I'm like, if you're going to sit there and say something negative about a certain group of people, then you have to stand 10 toes down on it, right? You can sit there and admit to the fact that you were wrong and stuff like that, but stand 10 toes down on that, right? Be an American about it, I guess, I realize that in other countries, they have these respectability politics. It's a little bit different from Americans, the respectability politics, in the way that they carry themselves. They pride themselves off of not showing their hand, off of not being actively violent, off of being humble. But a lot of that humility is actually cowardice to me. A lot of it feels fake to me and disingenuous, where you're smiling in my face, you're trying to keep the peace, but behind closed doors, you're talking shit about me. Like, that's just very pussy to me, and I just don't respect that, right? Nobody will respect it if I did it. Nobody will respect it if other people did it. It's just like, it's not going to be something that will be respected, especially in Black American culture, where we are put down for being confrontational, doing too much, being aggressive. It's like a whole thing. And so I found that interesting how, now we are having this whole movement of people who are supposedly Black American who are not Black American at all. There's nothing wrong with being African American. In fact, a lot of Black Americans said you actually are African American. If we really think about the way that the title is set up, African American, that actually makes sense that you would identify as African American, considering that you are technically an African American. Like, that makes sense for you. But for us, that does not make sense because, again, most Africans do not have to take an ancestry test to find out that they're African. You can go to your family. You can go talk to people. Like, you are connected to the lineage. There is no, disconnecting from that. There is no separation from your roots, right, in that way, right? But Black Americans do not have that. That's why we call ourselves Black Americans. It shouldn't have been anything that was controversial. It shouldn't have been anything that was met with any vitriolic, response. But a lot of people felt some type of way about it because the xenophobia. And yes, there's xenophobia, but then there's also hate towards Black Americans. So it's like, whatever. I just think that it's an interesting phenomenon when you have so many different types of people who are representing Black Americans, who may also be actually Black Americans, and they're going around saying, we have to fight the good fight, and we have to make sure that, we represent ourselves in a way that appeases, the image. We have to make up for the things that we've done, which is also starting to piss me off. It's starting to piss me off seeing so many different types of Black people in America go around and say, I'm sorry, Africans. I'm sorry for what we represent. What are you sorry for? That's something that I'll never respect, and I find it so fucking pathetic when you're going around sitting there talking about you're sorry. What are you sorry for? What are we apologizing for? Did we do something? Did somebody get abused? Did somebody get mistreated? Like, what's going on? You're sitting there apologizing on behalf of the community. It's always cringy, even if it's in the Black American community. I hate it when somebody doing some ghetto ratchet shit, you see some Black person stealing from the store. I'm sorry, white people. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I hate it when you see somebody who's trans or somebody who's gay and they doing too much and they acting a fool over pronouns. I'm sorry, straight people. I'm sorry. It's all that pick me coon energy is just so annoying to me, right? And so that's just something that I feel like a lot of Black Americans have to look out for, because it's like you can't really tell if these people are actually part of the community or not, right? They may see themselves as a Black American, they may see themselves as an African American. We never may know, right? Until they tell us, until the truth is revealed. But it's just very interesting that you see that, then you see them trying to take that identity, and then on top of that, they're sitting there apologizing on behalf of the Black American community to make amends that it is not for us to make up for, right? We are not the ones to have to make that up as Black Americans, as Black people in the States. That is not our job. Anyway.